Hello everyone. In this video we are going to learn about internal capsule. Before that, let us know what is projection fibers. Projection fibers, these are the fibers that connect the cerebral cortex to the other parts of the CNS. Right? For example, the brainstem and the spinal cord. Like you can see in this diagram here. Yes. Now here you can see all the type of the fibers that are shown, right? One, you have interconnected fibers, right? They are the association fibers, right? Then you have this corpus callosum that is shown, that is the commissural fibers, and these are the projection fibers that you can see. Means connecting the cerebral cortex to the brainstem and the spinal cord. These are the projection fibers. And the two examples of the projection fibers is, one is the corona radiata that you can see here, right? Corona radiata, and another is the internal capsule. Okay. Many important tracts like corticospinal and corticopontine, they are made up of projection fibers, right? And the best examples are two, corona radiata and internal capsule. Now out of this we are going to learn in detail about the internal capsule. So internal capsule, you already know some things about it, right? The parts of the internal capsule and all. Okay. The internal capsule is a large band of the fiber situated in the inferomedial part of the each cerebral hemisphere. In horizontal sections of the brain, it appears V-shaped with its concavity directed laterally. Right? The concavity is directed laterally. The concavity is directed laterally and it is occupied by this lentiform nucleus. The internal capsule contains fibers going to and coming from the cerebral cortex. It can be compared to a narrow gate where the fibers are densely crowded. When traced upwards, the fibers of the capsule, they diverge and are continuous with the corona radiata, right? So the internal capsular fibers, when they go up, right? So when they are traced upwards, they are continuous with the corona radiata, and when traced downwards, its fibers converge and many of them are continuous with the crus cerebri of the midbrain, right? Remember this, they are continuous below with the crus cerebri of the midbrain, right? Now we'll take the different parts of the internal capsule. It is divided into the following parts. First, you can see the anterior limb, right? It lies between the head of the caudate nucleus and the lentiform nucleus. Then the posterior limb, it lies between the thalamus and the lentiform nucleus. Then you can see the genu, it is the band between the anterior and the posterior limbs. Then comes the retrolentiform part that lies behind the lentiform nucleus, right? Retro means behind. Retrolentiform part lies behind the lentiform nucleus, and the last is the sublentiform part that lies below the lentiform nucleus. It can be seen in the coronal section, whereas the rest of the parts are seen in the horizontal sections. Then the relations of the internal capsule. Medially, it is related to the head of the caudate nucleus and thalamus. You can see the head of the caudate nucleus and thalamus are into the relation, and laterally it is related to the lentiform nucleus. Now the next is the very important part of the internal capsule, that is the fibers of the internal capsule. Now as internal capsule is a kind of projection fiber, so it is connecting the many parts of the cerebral cortex with the different parts of the brain, right? So that we will see in one more diagram. Yes, here you can see this. Okay. Now first is the motor fibers. Corticopontine lie in the anterior limb, genu and the posterior limb, right? Corticopontine, they will lie in the anterior limb, genu and the posterior limb, right? Now what is corticopontine means from cortex to the pontine. Now in that again the different parts of the cortex. So in that first is the frontopontine that you can see here, right? Frontopontine fibers, they start from the frontal lobe to reach the pontine nuclei, where they will relay to reach the opposite cerebellar hemispheres, and these fibers are then called as corticopontocerebellar fibers. Similarly, you have the paritopontine and the occipitopontine. They lie in the retrolentiform part of the internal capsule. Then you have similarly temporopontine fibers. They lie in the sublentiform part of the internal capsule. Then next is the pyramidal fibers. Corticonuclear to the nuclei 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 12th, and the nucleus ambiguous for 9th, 10th and 11th nerves of the opposite side, right? You can see here the corticonuclear fibers are shown. Similarly, you have the corticospinal fibers of the pyramidal tract, right? These are the fibers for the anterior horn of the muscles of the head and neck. They lie in the genu, right? Here you can see the head and the neck, they are lying in the genu. And the fibers for the upper limb trunk and the lower limb, they lie in the posterior limb, right? Here you can see the upper limb fibers are shown, right? Here is the trunk, right? And here is the lower limb fibers. So this all they lie in the posterior limb of the internal capsule in the sequential order. Okay. Then comes the extrapyramidal fibers. These fibers, they start from the cerebral cortex as the corticostriate and the corticorubral fibers and reach the corpus, striatum and the red nucleus. Then comes the sensory fibers. In the sensory fibers, thalamus plays an important role. Thalamocortical fibers forms the thalamic radiations, right? So first is the anterior thalamic radiation. Here you can see the anterior thalamic radiation is shown, right? Now this here the fibers from the anterior and the dorsomedial nuclei of the thalamus, they terminate in the cortex frontal lobe. Next is the superior thalamic radiation, right? Here you can see this is the superior thalamic radiation. Fibers of the ventral group of the nuclei of the thalamus, they reach the sensory areas of the frontal and the parietal lobe, right? I hope you remember the different nuclei of the thalamus, right? See, the fibers are coming from the anterior nuclei, dorsomedial nuclei, right? So you already know about the thalamus, so it is easy to correlate now. So superior thalamic radiation, fibers of the ventral group and of the nuclei of the thalamus reach the sensory area of the frontal and parietal lobes. Then comes the posterior thalamic radiation, right? Here the fibers connect the lateral geniculate body to the area 17, forming the optic radiation. Lateral geniculate body to the forming the optic radiation, right? This one you can see. Then inferior thalamic radiation connect the medial geniculate body with the primary auditory cortex. Medial geniculate body forming the auditory radiation. And this is the 4 types of the radiations that are formed through the thalamus, right? Then another table is given in the book 28.6. Please go through that table. The same fibers that means that already I have told you, right? The motor fibers, sensory fibers, pyramidal and extrapyramidal fibers, right? They are given in the table, so it's easy for you to remember that. That's it. Next is the blood supply of the different parts of the internal capsule. Now here you can see now it's better. The blood supply, you can see first the anterior limb, right? This anterior limb, it is supplied by the recurrent branch of the anterior cerebral artery and the direct branches from the anterior cerebral. Okay. Then the genu, Genu is supplied by the direct branches from the internal carotid and posterior communicating artery. Then comes the posterior limb. It is supplied by the branches of the lateral and the medial striate arteries, right? They are the branches of the middle cerebral and the anterior choroidal arteries, branches from the anterior choroidal. Then the retrolentiform part is supplied by the branches of the posterior cerebral artery, right? This is the branches of the posterior cerebral. And the last, that is sublentiform part, again it is supplied by the branches of the posterior cerebral and the anterior choroidal, this anterior choroidal branches. Okay, so these are the different parts of the internal capsule. They are supplied by the different branches of the cerebral arteries and the internal carotid. So that is about the blood supply, and the last part is the applied anatomy. Lesions of the internal capsule are usually vascular, right? Whenever there is a damage to the internal capsule, it is mainly because of the vascular lesion, right? So they are usually vascular due to involvement of the medial and the lateral striate branches of the middle cerebral artery, right? Which branches are involved mainly? They are the medial and the lateral striate arteries, this supplying the posterior limb. They give rise to hemiplegia on the opposite half of the body, including the face. Okay, it is a upper motor neuron type of the paralysis. The larger lateral striate artery is also called as the Charcot's artery of the cerebral hemorrhage. Next is the thrombosis of the recurrent branch of the anterior cerebral artery gives rise to a upper motor neuron type of the paralysis of the opposite upper limb and of the face, right? Now this anterior cerebral artery, you have seen this, the anterior cerebral artery, it is here, right? It is supplying the anterior limb. Okay, so when it is thrombosed, it will give rise to a upper motor neuron type of the paralysis of the opposite upper limb and of the face. A lesion in the genu of the internal capsule could produce sensory and the motor loss in the contralateral side of the head. But still here the paralysis or the damage is not complete. Why? Because there is a bilateral cortical innervation of the most cranial nerve nuclei, right? So there is definitely a sensory and the motor loss in the contralateral side of the head, but it is not complete, right? Some functions are still retained. Okay, so that is all about the clinical anatomy or the applied anatomy of the internal capsule. Okay, bye.